Okay, so from this point we can go right into calibrate our star color if you so wish. If you're shooting narrowband, this might be a pointless endeavor. However, if you are doing RGB or one-shot color, it could be beneficial to you. So let's make sure we're on the correct process. We're on number 4, and we've already calibrated our background. And remember, you do need to calibrate the background before you do calibrate star color. So let's go into the calibrate star color. Here we go. Now again, this is a tutorial for a beginner, so we're not going to go into a lot of detail on this at this point. We are going to cover just a little bit as far as what a beginner may need to know. So the first thing we need to do is create a box. You can create a full box or a portion box, or you could do 2 boxes if you like. I like to do 2 boxes. Hit calculate. And we're going to let that chew for a minute. So as you see that it came up, here's our corrected image as it sees it for right now. What we're mostly looking at and concentrating on for the beginner is this area right here. And this is the blue spectrum of star color versus the reddish or more of a yellow kind of star, so to speak. And even though there are a lot of blue stars out in the galaxy, they are not as much as what you would see for red stars. So the blue stars here, if your line is further down, if you have more blue stars this way, we want to correct that, put them back more towards the red spectrum. So in order to do that, we're going to take our slider here, our blue versus red, and we're going to adjust it over, and it's kind of a guessing game here. Again, you can go to an extreme and see what you can what will work. However, I suggest you just go about halfway and hit calculate. And this image is already fairly well calculated, so I don't think we're going to have a lot of issues with the blue color. That's actually about right. I would say about 1/4 or less in the blue spectrum here. But we'll let it run just to show you what it can do. And now, as you can see, it's taking the majority of the blue stars out of that area, of that section. But it's also not quite realistic. So we do want some blue stars down in there. We just don't want a ton of them. So where it was actually fine. I'll show you again just by bringing it down how you can continue to push them towards the blue spectrum. There you go. And your stars should be relatively calibrated at this point. So once you're happy with the desired effect, go ahead and click OK and save. Once again, it's going to rename our file name, and it's combine RGB, which was process 1, modify, which was process 2, LPC, and the first initial CBG, which was process number 3. And process number 4 was the last CBG we did just prior to the color star calibration, which we've just finished. So we're going to hit OK, save it to fits. Here we go. Remember to scroll down, go to the last image you were working on, pull that image up. And now we're at the point to where you can adjust your colors if you like. If you're not happy with the way they're at right now, you go right into HSL, select a color, click OK. There we are. So if we look over here to the right-hand side, the left-hand side, you'll see that we have our cancel, our calculate, apply, create, and then we have a color. If we do the pull down, we have reds, yellows, greens, cyan, blues, magenta, the black and white, or you can adjust the entire image at one time under all. Calculate, of course, just calculates the adjustments that you've made. If you click apply, it will apply those adjustments directly to your linear photo that you're working on. And it'll reset your sliders back down to 0 so you continue to build off of the adjustments you've made. And once you're completely satisfied with everything you've done, you can then hit create. On the bottom of the spectrum here, you'll see we have low, high, we have RCY, GAMA, BYE, SAT, and Loom. So the RCY is red, and the opposite of red is cyan. G is green, opposite of green is magenta. Blue, opposite is yellow. Your SAT is the saturation for that particular color that you're applying, and the Loom is for luminance that you're injecting for that particular color as well. So in order to adjust the red, we got it on red. Let's go down here. If we want to make it more red, let's just go to an extreme to see what happens. So we've made that definitely a lot more red than what it was. So if you're okay with that, that's fine. We can go over to our blues. Let's make our blues more blue. We calculate. We increased our blue spectrum here a little bit. If we wanted to increase it even more, we could increase our saturation. So we bring our saturation up. We calculate. There we go. So if you also started noticing too on our brighter stars, which give off a blue cast already, they're starting to get more and more blue around their edges. So you got to be a little careful with the adjustments that you're making, especially if you're working with saturation. So let's take the saturation back down to 0. About there. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and reset these back down low. Let's go back to blue. And let's take the red back down as well. And we'll hit calculate to put it back to where it originally was, since I've moved all my sliders back. There we go. Now there's a few other things you can do too. If you're on the red, let's say, and you do want to increase your saturation, you can bring it up in small increments of the red without doing any adjustments here. So we can bring up just a little bit, hit calculate, and see what we get. And it brought up the more red a little bit more without increasing it. So these sliders are going to come in a lot more in play when you're using narrowband imaging as you're adjusting and playing with your different color scales. This for your one-shot colors, and for your RGB data is to strengthen or increase or to change a little bit. And just remember, as you're dealing with these colors, just go off of what the color chart is, or the color wheel, if you want to figure out exactly what will do what and where and why. When you're happy with the color that you've achieved, you can go ahead and hit apply, which will apply to the whole image, and then hit create. And you'll see once again, combine RGB, modify, light pollution, color background again. Our star color was achieved, and now SC has been completed, which is our selective color. When you're finished, go ahead and hit cancel, come back out. And now we're almost ready to save it off. You now have several opportunities that you can come over here and use your sliders here on the right hand side to further enhance if you'd like to. Again, your B was your black slider. We can go ahead and increase that if we want to increase our background just a little bit, make it a little darker. There we go, that looks nice. We can come down here to the highlights. We can bring our highlights up a little bit if we so choose. Again, if you're not sure what it's going to do, go ahead and take it to an extreme, let it go, and you can see exactly what the effect is, and then dial it back from that point. So that's a little bad for the highlights. Let's try about 10. There we go. This is our saturation, so we can increase our saturation again, even more if we'd like to. Again, go to an extreme, see what it does. If you don't like the effect, back it down till you get to what you do like. So let's say even 25. Drop a little bit more. Yeah, it looks okay, I guess. To protect your background, if you're trying to increase your colors in your nebulas, you can adjust your threshold, your saturation threshold if you like. You can also come down and adjust your contrast. So let's go to an extreme on our contrast, see what it looks like. So there's some slight changes there. There we go. We can increase our sharpness. If you go into the photo a little bit deeper, you can see how our sharpness can increase for detail. So pop that up, see what happens. Again, go to an extreme and then back yourself down so you can at least see what the effect is. Here we go. So our structure is increased a lot. You also have to be careful. You will start inducing some noise if you're not too careful, but that's okay. That looks pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. I actually think I'll back that down to maybe about 10. Let's try that. We'll soften it up just a little bit. There we go. So when you're happy with your photo and you've adjusted everything and you like where you're at this point, you can go ahead and save it off. If you want more information on what the sliders do here on the side, just click on this little red question mark right here, this little box, and it will pull up a thing here for you to look at for exactly what you got, because you can make adjustments based upon where your histogram is, and it'll give you more information on doing so. Again, it's a little bit more advanced for somebody just starting, but more than welcome to jump into it as you move further along. So if you're happy with it, come over here to hit save, and when you're ready to save it off, you can rename the file if you like. Click OK. Choose the format that you'd like to hold it off into. So if you want to keep it in a FITS or a TIFF file to use in another program, you can. Or you can select JPEG, hit OK. Bring your quality up to 100, hit OK again, and OK for the last time. And your RGB has been created. And there's your final image.